Hello and welcome to Absolute Trust Talk. This is our live version of our podcast here at Absolute Trust Council. I'm very thrilled about my guest today. We're going to be talking about a very extraordinary organization, the Special Olympics. I think most people have heard of the Special Olympic Games, wherein athletes with disabilities compete against each other in various sports. But I think that a lot of people are unaware of all the other things that Special Olympics, the organization, does for the community of people with disabilities. And we are going to talk about the games, of course, and also all of those other programs that this really, truly remarkable organization does with my guest, Tyler Krochmal. Tyler is the Senior PR and Communications Manager for Special Olympics Northern California. And in his role, he assists with marketing and communication and also oversees their athlete leadership program, which we're going to talk about in a bit. And he has also been a volunteer coach with Special Olympics. So Tyler, welcome. I'm so happy to have you here.
Thank you so much, Kirsten. Thank you for having me on and allowing us to talk about all the great work at Special Olympics and our amazing athletes.
Yeah. Well, okay. So let's start kind of with the basics, some perspective. How long has Special Olympics been around?
Special Olympics has been around since 1968. So we just celebrated 50 years a couple years ago. It started in Chicago by Eunice Kennedy Shriver, who was the sister of John F. Kennedy. And she had another sister with an intellectual disability. And she found that there were, especially back then, not a lot of programs for people like her sister, and not a lot of people with disabilities were put into institutions and pretty much, put out of the way, put out of the, not a part of the community.
Yeah.
So she had the idea of having sports as a way that, kind of like music, that universal language that everyone can and try and do in such a great way to, try your best, learn new things, be celebrated by people. And that spawned Special Olympics in Chicago. And then here we are 50 years later with over 5 million athletes all around the world in 200 countries. So it's definitely grown quite a bit.
Wow. I didn't know that number, 5 million athletes. That's remarkable. That is really remarkable. Oh, all right. And so, Tyler, you work for the Northern California, is it a division, a chapter? I don't know what you call it.
Northern California chapter. Each state in the U.S. has a Special Olympics chapter. California has 2 chapters, just based on geography and size of population.
And your chapter also includes Nevada, am I right? Northern California.
Correct. Nevada is going independent as of next year, so that's very exciting too. Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's great. Okay, and so before we go into some of the lesser known programs, let's talk a little bit about the Olympic Games, the Special Olympic Games. As we are recording this today, you have your Spring Games coming up. The people who are watching and listening to the recording, it may be in the past by the time this is out there, but that's in May. What are the dates and locations for that? And what sports are involved in that Spring Games?
We have multiple Spring Games. So our first Spring Games is May 13th in Folsom. And that has probably a dozen different counties from the greater Sacramento and northern region of the state coming together to athletes compete in track and field, swimming, and tennis at that event. They've been training for probably 8 weeks leading up to this competition, and everyone comes together and competes, and we have some competitions and pretty much a full day of fun. And there's a lot going on, as you can imagine, with hundreds of athletes competing in 3 different sports. So that's May 13th. And then down in the South Bay on May 22nd, there's another Spring Games that has tennis, track and field, swimming again. And that's more the South Bay down basically until Monterey and over to Fresno. All of those counties come and compete.
Okay, so those are kind of regional kind of games.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then you have the summer games coming in June. Am I right about that?
In June, correct. So June 23rd through 25th this year at Santa Clara University. Summer Games is our biggest chapter-wide competition. So athletes who qualify at spring games, if they earn a gold medal, they qualify to compete at summer games.
Okay.
And that's very cool because we have a big opening ceremony, 2 days of competitions, a dance, which is a favorite among our group, and it's a really cool experience because the athletes get to travel, they get to stay in the dorms, and it's a lot of times it's their first time staying in dorms away from family,
Right.
or
Right.
and their family might be there, but they're independent. They're staying in the dorms. They're staying with their friends. So it's just a really cool opportunity to celebrate them.
Yeah, it is very cool. And they have earned the right to be there because they won at the division level or the district level, regional, whatever you call it. So they're very good athletes at that point.
Yeah, absolutely. They have to earn it, but it's all divisioned out. So it's based on their ability level, and we have everything from individual skills. So if someone's not maybe able to swim a whole lap, it's walking the lap, or it's going half the pool, or wheelchair races, or whatever that might be. They compete against people who are a similar competition level. And then they qualify in their division, but they still have to earn it. And that's a really cool thing that they earn that experience to go.
Yeah. So there's well, let me ask you this. The spring games, which is in Folsom and then in San Jose, is that the first level? Is that the entry level? Or do you have to qualify to participate in that?
That's usually that's usually their first competition of the spring.
Okay.
So they'll practice for 6-8 weeks and then compete at those spring games.
Okay. And so to get the athletes prepared for the spring games, there are coaches.
There are coaches. We have amazing coaches. Absolutely amazing. All of our coaches are volunteers, and they dedicate so much of their time to supporting our athletes. Practices are usually once a week, once or twice a week. And yeah, it's just like any other sport league practices. You go out there and get better and work with the athletes over those weeks. And yeah, the coaches are just amazing, dedicating their time. And but I know if you ask them, I used to be a Special Olympics coach before I started working here, and you get so much more out of it as a coach than I feel like you even give to the athletes. It's an amazing experience and puts a lot of things in perspective.
Okay, so what I think you're saying is you don't have to have any particular ability or training. If you want to be a Special Olympics athlete, we can get you into the games, and there's a coach for you, and you just have to want it.
Absolutely. A lot of our athletes try sports for the first time when they come out, and we encourage that. And if it's not for them, then it's not for them. We don't want to force anything, but they see on TV watching basketball and say, I might want to try basketball. Come out to and try basketball, and then we try to fit the athletes wherever they are. Sure. And find the appropriate level for them, and then and then just teach them and learn. But definitely no experience, and there's no experience even to be a coach. You don't have to be an expert in that sport. Obviously, it's encouraged to know the sport, but when I started track and field coaching, I knew you run that way, and that was basically my coaching experience. And I was an assistant coach, so I wasn't leading it, but just being able to help out and kind of direct and learn is really important. So I definitely learned a lot too.
We all know how to run. That doesn't mean we know anything about track and field, but that's exactly all you need. Yeah. Okay. So when after the summer games, do the winners there then move on to some other level of competition?
Usually summer games is our pinnacle of the local chapter. There are games that happen, national games. So USA games happen every 4 years. And that is based on, you have to qualify at summer games, but if it's not a USA games year, then there's no.
Then that's the end.
Then that's the end.
Okay.
And then we have world games every 2 years, which is, I think, what a lot of people think as the 5-ring Olympics is every 2 years. And we follow that same model for the world games as well.
Okay. So then there's a winter and a summer, just like the conventional Olympics. Okay. Oh, that is interesting. All right. Okay. So people who are listening to us now can support all of this, your Special Olympics games, obviously by donating money to the organization, but also by attending the games.
Absolutely.
Cheering on the athletes.
Yeah, absolutely. So all of our competitions are open to the public. Everyone's welcome to come. I think that's a good starting point for people just to come and check it out. And we have, I think our numbers, we had 230 different competitions last year. So there's something pretty much every weekend. If you, hopefully in wherever you live, there might be something going on near you. So it's a fun just opportunity to come out, watch. You can volunteer if you want, keep score, or do something like that. You don't have to commit as a coach, or just come out and cheer and be a part of that spirit. And usually you end up coming back because it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I think it's probably infectious. It probably, you get swept up in it and you just want to be around it. So Special Olympics Northern California, sonc.org. Your website is very helpful. People can find something, like you said, mostly every weekend you can find something. And some of them are fundraisers, some of them are just come and watch these athletes. And there's plenty of opportunity to volunteer and help out. Okay, so, and you were a coach. How long did you coach?
I coached for about 3 years.
Okay. Was that your entree into the organization? Is that the first thing that you did?
It was pretty much, I interned when I was in college in the summer back in Missouri and enjoyed it. And then, started volunteering as a coach. And again, I fell in love with it and started with one sport. I think I ended up coaching 3 or 4 sports, and then now I'm working here. So it's you can get hooked in pretty easily. Yeah,
you really did get hooked in. That's great. All right, so I'm gonna now thank you for sharing about the Olympic Games. That to me is a fascinating story. I'm going to segue now into some of the lesser known, at least to me, programs that Special Olympics offers. I know that at these various games, you have your healthy athlete screenings. You want to talk a little bit about that?
Absolutely. So we're all committed to supporting our population, which is people with intellectual disabilities. So and overall, that's can be Down syndrome, autism, other types of disabilities. And a lot of times we found that unfortunately people with intellectual disabilities have a lot of barriers to receiving and maintaining their best health, whether it be resources or access to care, or doctors and healthcare professionals not having training to treat people with intellectual disabilities. We found a lot of medical schools and doctors never get trained on how to have a patient with a disability. So that can be hard because people communicate in different ways, especially people with disabilities. And we found sometimes that there's so much that the miscommunication can lead to so many negative things just because they don't know how to communicate with each other.
Yeah.
So our Healthy Athletes program kind of tries to bring those two populations together, the healthcare professionals and our athletes. We know where our athletes are. They're going to be at these competitions. So We have a great number of volunteers, healthcare volunteers, students, doctors that come out and provides free screenings, free checkups for our athletes in a number of different areas. So vision, hearing, dental, foot care, a couple of different more, mental, emotional wellness. And it's just a great opportunity for the athletes to go through these things. It's, again, sometimes it's their first time getting their eyes checked or the first time getting their hearing checked. And then we can help kind of follow up with them and refer them to, one of our trusted partners. So they get that opportunity, they get that care. And then it's also a great opportunity for those medical students and doctors to get hands-on experience communicating and treating our athletes. So it's a win-win. And we have those at, again, a variety of different events throughout the year, and really trying to promote that, the healthier you are on the field, the healthier you are off the field. And we want all of our athletes to be living happy, healthy lives, just in general in their daily lives.
That is a great idea. You have this opportunity. All these people are here. Let's help them in this other area of their lives. Which affects their ability to participate in the games. That's great. Okay, so you do have other events, lots of events. I saw on your website you've got something called a bocce batch coming up, which is near and dear to my heart because I actually play in a bocce league. I also saw an event called Bike the Bridges and Brewfest coming in October. I guess that's probably a fundraiser and awareness raiser, and that sounds like a heck of a lot of fun. So I'm just reminding people, your website has a lot of great things. I know that you also have a program where you send people to schools to run field days, to participate in PE classes. Tell me a little bit about that program.
Yeah, absolutely. So our schools program, I think, is one of our most impactful and reaches so many people and students, not just with disabilities, but everyone. Again, school is, just like I mentioned, the healthy athletes. We know our athletes are going to be at these competitions. School has everybody there, right? Everybody's in the school, is in one place, and it's a great opportunity to educate students and bring students with disabilities, so students who may be in special ed classes, with the general student population. And a lot of times, the special education classes or wing is over here, and they're doing their own thing, and we might not even know. Some students don't even know they have special education students at their school because they're doing their own thing. And it's important for them to get those services, but we also want the special education students to feel like they're part of the school campus, because they are. And sports, again, is that common ground to bring people together. And I always think if you put two kids in a field with a ball, and no matter what language or what ability, they're going to figure out how to play together.
They'll do something.
Ball. Yeah, they'll figure out. So sports is a great way to bring those two, to bring students together. They actually, they play in the same teams. We have exhibition, games during lunch, and PE classes where they, if the special education class is having PE and the general education class is having PE, we just combine those two. Help combine those two classes. And it's just a really cool experience, because the special education students, again, they're part of that school campus. They get to wear the jersey sometimes with, whatever high school on there, and get cheered on by their peers, and also get to meet a lot of new friends that they might not otherwise. And then for the general education students, again, they just get to learn about students who may talk differently, may look differently. And just, I think, breaking down some of those stereotypes and some of those misunderstandings at an early age just can lead to so many more positive things as they grow up and move older. And again, sports is a fun way to to bring that together. They're active. They have to work as a team and figure out how to work as a team. And so, it's just it's a really cool thing.
Yeah, it's everyone benefits, and our society in general benefits by people, being a little more accepting of each other on both sides of that equation. That's always a good thing. Okay, so one more program I want to have you talk about, and I know you yourself are involved in this, is the Athlete Leadership Program. So tell us a little, this is a really great program. Tell us about this.
Yeah, this one I'm biased because I help oversee this program, but so I love this. It's basically our athlete leadership program is providing training and opportunities for our athletes, so that people with disabilities to become ambassadors and advocates for themselves, for Special Olympics, and for other people with disabilities. So we provide public speaking training, speech writing, all types of different professional development skills for them to be able to, again, find their voice and speak on behalf of Special Olympics. So it's so much more impactful to hear from a program participant than even me talking right now, right? An athlete talking about this is how it impacted my life as a participant is amazing. And our athlete leaders have given speeches at businesses and schools, and we just went to the state capitol a couple weeks ago to meet with all types of different legislators to talk about our programs. And the athletes, the people with disabilities, are the one leading those meetings and talking and sharing their stories. And it's amazing because that gives them the confidence to then, go out and get a job or apply to be in school, or, some of those different life skills that that happens. And speaking up in front of somebody just gives you so much confidence, because public speaking is a very scary thing for,
it's a very,
for a lot of people, for everyone.
For everyone. Yeah. It's like, I think it's the number one fear of most people.
Yeah.
And that's, you're right. There is no better spokesperson for a program than the person who has been involved in the program themselves and has benefited from the program. And again, by, exposing the general population to the participants, you just bring a lot of barriers down, and it's so many good things about that. Okay, so I'm gonna go to our audience questions. This one must have been asked early on in the conversation. Is there an international Special Olympics, and when is that? I think you already answered that, but go ahead and answer it again.
Sure. So Special Olympics is in, I think it's over 200 countries worldwide, which is, I can't name close to 200 countries. That's pretty amazing. And then we have our World Games every 2 years. It alternates between winter and summer. So our summer games are actually this year, literally in about a month, in Berlin, Germany. So we'll be, I'll actually be going to that, and as part of the media team for our Special Olympics USA delegation. And we have 2 athletes from Northern California going as part of the USA team, which is very, very exciting. Yeah.
That is very exciting. And congratulations, you get to go to Berlin. Is it televised? Is the International Special Olympics televised?
It will. It's usually on I think the opening ceremony is usually on ABC, actually. Okay. And then we have a partnership with ABC and ESPN. So one of the ESPN.
I'm one of the many ESPN.
Yeah, one of them will probably have some of our competitions. Yeah.
Okay. That's exciting. I'm going to watch for that. Okay. And I've got another question. How does an athlete get started? What do they need to do if they want to get started with you?
Getting started. So the best place to start is our website. So sonc.org, and there's an athlete application form. And an athlete can fill that out. A parent or guardian can fill that out, whatever the situation might be. And there's a medical check to make sure we have the right services and adaptability to fit that athlete. And then we connect you with the program near you in your neighborhood or your county, whatever it might be, connect you with that coach or that lead in that area. And it goes from there. Then they're invited to come out and participate and, hopefully join our big Special Olympics family.
Yeah. I have a plan to go watch the summer games. So I'm very excited about that. Not the one in Berlin, the one in Santa Clara. Tyler, thank you so much for being here, for answering all my questions and sharing all this information about your very extraordinary organization. We really appreciate you taking the time.
Thank you, Kirsten, for having me on and again allowing to share about Special Olympics. And again, I encourage anyone to come out and just see one of our competitions, meet some of our athletes, and I guarantee you'll leave with a big smile on your face. That's what we're all about, is that joy and positivity and uplifting people. So it's great. Okay, and just as thank you again. And just as a reminder to my audience, anything you're looking for in connection with Special Olympics, it's SONC.org, Special Olympics, Northern California. Thank you so much, Tyler. Thank you. And thank you all for listening and watching. If you've been watching, we appreciate that. I hope you got a lot out of this episode. I know I couldn't stop smiling through the whole episode. It's just so delightful to talk about what this organization does for its community. And I hope you'll join us next time, and I look forward to connecting with you then.
Thank you for joining us today for another episode of Absolute Trust Talk Live. If you enjoyed listening in, then don't forget to subscribe. You can find us on Apple Podcasts or wherever you may listen by searching Absolute Trust Talk. While you're there, we would also love for you to leave us a review. And then why not share your favorite episodes with family, friends, or colleagues too? You can find all of our shows and corresponding show notes by visiting absolutetrustcouncil.com. You'll also find a variety of other free resources, including our ebooks, videos, blogs, presentations, and more. If you need help with your estate planning or administration, we also offer a free discovery call to help get the process started. You can find more information on booking your session by visiting absolutetrustcouncil.com/scheduling. Don't forget to keep an eye out for our next live episode in 2 weeks. If you join us for the broadcast, you can submit questions during the show. But if not, don't worry. You can always get in touch with us by sending a quick message to info@absolutetrustcouncil.com. Thanks again for listening. We'll see you soon.